Another Ikea GODMORGON item. This one's basically a tall bathroom cabinet. Yeah, and everything in a GODMORGON series has this white kind of glossy applique stuff on the particle board, and that's to make it water resistant, steam resistant in a wet environment. You would also use this, when I talk about the off-grid camper stuff and all that, a little better choice than the straight melamine. But it's kind of a glossy finish, so you're going to spend close to a half hour peeling the blue protective tape off of all of the pieces, which has to be done before assembly. As far as the assembly itself goes, it's basically IKEA box style assembly. Common tools, but unlike the rest of the GODMORGON series, one of the things you have to look out for is that the holes that you put these little turn locks in and the holes that you put the pegs in are exactly the same size, which can lead to problems. So again, you might want to still refer to the instruction manual, but I'm also going to show a lot of this in a video. So the other thing we got to look at is this comes with a lot of internal shelves, some of which are the wood, some of which are glass. Don't install or even unpack the glass shelves until after this thing's already in where it's going to go. You need this thing to have reduced weight when you're moving it around and getting it in place. So I'll put the pegs in place at some logical locations, but again, there's a little adjustability on that. But we don't really want to put those things in until this thing is installed on the wall where it's going to go. It's in place. Basically, like I said, you got to be careful because the pegs and the turn lock anchors are going to fit in holes that are the same size. But the turn lock anchors bias to the outside, pegs bias to the inside. At this position, there's turn lock anchors only, no pegs. And then, of course, at the bottom, it's going to be the same. We do this on both panels, okay? So there's going to be one set here that is exactly in the center, corresponds to a single lonely hole over here. These things, I think, depending on the orientation of the front door, one or the other is going to be holding a hinge. So when we do this, we attach the sides in a relatively normal fashion, and the back has to be done at the same time because it gets pinched into this slot. Straight to final touches, we've got these little things which go in the back to basically reinforce the rigidness on the rear piece, and then they'll just get screwed in, number two, with the impact. When we look at the front, sorry about the camera view changing, but this thing can set up with either right or left side opening, and because the decision hasn't been finalized on how the bathroom is going to go with that, I install everything on the door. This is the door handle pull that gets installed with number 1 PH screws. But as far as the little shelves, I'm going to put some of these in here. The trick is not to put the little shelf holder pegs in where you would expect hinges to go. So they would only go in these, and the end user can change that at any point. But generally the way this thing is engineered, glass goes on the upper, the wood goes on the lower. This thing's the same right side up or upside down, but what would determine right side up is when you get this middle shelf in, the little turn locks, you really don't want those to show. So they're up underneath, so I decided to flip this way and work it like that. And so we're almost done. This done. We're not going to install the door at this stage in the game because it adds a lot of weight to this when it's getting put in. But the pegs are all here for the shelves to be installed at a later time, and it'll be all ready to go. There's also some additional hardware to come to these for attaching these together. Let's say we've got a couple that are going to go side by side attached together. That doesn't get put in at this stage. So this is the IKEA GODMORGON bathroom stuff. As far as the assembly side goes, there'll be some other people putting it into the bathroom, but the assembly side on this is a little bit deceptively long. I didn't think this would take a full hour, but it does. And this one, full on hour and a half, basically, for the base cabinet.